Hey everyone, and welcome to r/LetsNotMeet, the place about people you never ever want to meet again. Trust me when I say this place has some good and absolutely terrifying stories. I've been here a few times before, and you seem to absolutely love it. So we're back with more of the best stories that I could find. Now, I know this one is a favourite, so let's not waste another second and get straight into this first one by user/HTTP cake. This happened when I was 6 years old. I'm 22 female now. My family travelled to British Columbia for my aunt's wedding. I was a flower girl, and the wedding took place at a more remote church ground beside the ocean with beautiful docks. The wedding went off with no issues. I tossed some flowers and scratched at my itchy dress. Following the ceremony, everyone came outside to do photos on the docks. I got distracted playing in the dirt while the wedding party moved down the dock without me. My mum, of course, was distracted talking to her sister, and I was usually glued to her side anyway. While I was drawing in the dirt with a stick, a man in a suit approached me. He didn't look dangerous, and said he was a cousin or something of my now uncle. He did look familiar to me, but I didn't know why. He said my mum and auntie had tasked him with watching me while they took photos and stuff. I didn't know any better, so he took my hand and began walking me not back to the church where the reception would be, but towards the dirt road leading out of the property. Everything went fine and dandy, and we were almost up the road where a tree line blocked the exit. I heard my mum scream, "Don't you effing touch my daughter!" and turned around to see her running down the dock towards us. Now, for context, my mum is a heavier woman, and that's the fastest I've ever seen her run in my life. She looked absolutely foaming at the mouth and raged. The man squeezed my hand like he was going to make a break for us. But I guess he decided otherwise when the rest of the guests saw my mum screaming and running and started making a beeline for us too. He jumped into the woods beside the dirt road. Nobody recognised him. And when the police came, there wasn't much they could do because a statement from a scared 6-year-old isn't very useful. The police ended up assigning someone to sit at the only entrance to the property while the reception took place, in case he came back for whatever reason. My mum kept me glued to her and left a little early with my brother and I. It dawned on me when we were going back to the hotel, that man was from the hotel. I'd seen him looming about at the swimming pool and in the continental breakfast room. Apparently, he was eavesdropping and somehow found out we were going to that wedding. I told my mum, and she was furious. She told the hotel front desk and got me to tell them what he looked like. With the key information that he was wearing a suit, they told us he'd already checked out in a hurry and left. They said they would file a police report with the information he'd provided when checking in, though he paid for the room with cash, so there was no way of knowing if he was using an alias. My mum decided to take us to another hotel on the other side of town that night. The police never followed up with her, and a few days later, we went back to my home province. I never understood how much danger I was in until I got a little older. And I mean, what's most scary about this one is how smart the plan was. Like, this plan was, obviously not foolproof, but it was definitely very, very solid. At a wedding, everyone's busy and just wouldn't expect something like this. And so many distant relatives, like everyone on the bride's side would just assume it's someone from the groom's side, and everyone on the groom's side would just assume it's someone from the bride's side. Like, it's so easy to sneak in, and if someone hasn't showed up, there's probably even a spot that can be taken. It's just, I don't want to say it, but it's a very good plan. It's very well thought out, and could have ended very, very badly. And here's the next one by user/PMandSlappy. This happened a few years ago when I was bartending in college. I was coming home down a stretch of divided highway at around 3 a.m. when I noticed a car heading towards me in the wrong lane. I doubted myself at first and thought the car was on the other side of a highway. Sure enough, a white Ford sedan passed me at a really high speed, at least 90. It's worth noting for later that I also drive a white Ford sedan. I was used to drunk and idiot drivers in the middle of the night, so I pulled to the side of the road and let him pass me. I had a moment of clarity and thought to call the police, thinking this person could hurt themselves or somebody else. The dispatcher answered, and after telling them which road and exit mile marker I was at, told me they would send a car. The state police station was only a few exits away, so I figured they would send somebody and I would just drive home. As I headed back onto the highway, I noticed some lights a few miles behind me. I live in a more rural part of southeastern Pennsylvania, and traffic at 3 a.m. tends to be truckers and cops. The car gained on me as I was getting up to speed, so I stayed in the right lane and waited to be passed. Instead, they flipped on their high beams, making it uncomfortable to drive, and rode my tailgate. At this point, I thought I was going to be pulled over by the police. I drove a white Ford sedan and had just called about a different white Ford sedan, so I grabbed my registration from my glove box. Suddenly, the car behind me audibly slammed on the brakes and stopped in the middle of a highway. They must have shut off their car because the lights went out and I saw what looked like the same Ford sedan from earlier. Still, I thought this may have been a police car. They had a roof rack, and it could have looked like I'd reached for a gun in my glove box or something. I panicked and called 911 for the second time and asked the dispatcher if they'd sent a cruiser to investigate. The dispatcher was a little curt with me and assured me they sent somebody out. "We've sent a trooper to find the car, sir. I only ask because somebody's following me and acting weird. It could be a cop and I think I freaked them out by getting my registration. Are you pulled over?" "No, they didn't turn on the lights." "Let me try to get the trooper we sent out." As she was talking, the car again sped towards me and stopped inches from my bumper. Again, their high beams were on me, and they slammed their brakes. I told the dispatcher, "I'm pretty sure this is not the police behind me." The car sped to my bumper again and turned their high beams on, this time laying on the horn. Hearing this, the dispatcher asked me what was happening. "What's happening? Did you honk?" "That's the car behind me. I don't think it's a cop." "I'll try to get to the trooper again, but I don't think that's him behind you." For some reason, this is what shook me. Before that, I was thinking I could get pulled over and maybe get a ticket. Up until then, I was going to the speed limit and trying to avoid getting pulled over. I told the dispatcher, "I don't care if I get pulled over. I'm speeding, and if they put their lights on, I'll pull over." I started to accelerate, and the person behind me just kept up with me. The speed limit was 55, and they kept on my bumper the entire time. But this time they were swerving. I tried to signal for an exit, then bail on it. But they followed. At the next exit, I took the off-ramp and continued onto the on-ramp, and the car behind me followed me the whole time. I thought about trying to go to a Wawa, convenience store / gas station, that's pretty much the only populated place in southeastern Pennsylvania at 3 a.m. But the dispatcher and I thought that would be unsafe. She was calm and talking to another person trying to send police to me. The other person, maybe a supervisor, asked if I could drive to the state police station. Realizing that I was one exit away, I told her I was coming there and she said she would have troopers meet me outside. As I pulled off to the exit, the car followed me. I blew a few red lights trying to get to the police station, and the car tried to pull into the other lane to pass me or pull up alongside me. Once the police station was in view, I put on my turn signal and the car slammed on its brakes again, turned off the lights, and turned into a parking lot. The story ends kinda anticlimactically as I pulled into the police station and met the troopers. 2 of them went to find the car, and I stayed with a 3rd trooper. I thanked the dispatcher and her supervisor, and the state trooper escorted me home after taking a statement from me. I was never called to follow up or testify, so I can only assume the person didn't get caught. Yeah, and the thing with this one is we don't know whether these people wanted to harm you or whether this was a harmless prank. I mean, though, this is still not a situation I would want to be in at all. This is definitely a very, very good Let's Not Meet post. And let's move on to the next one by user /scared as. So, about 2 years ago, a friend of mine moved into his own apartment. The sofa that was in it was old and worn, so he decided he would try to find one in better condition. He asked me to help him look for one, as my dad had a van, and we would need to use that to transport the sofa. So we went on Craigslist to have a look at what other people had for sale. We came across one ad that stated a 3-seater cream leather sofa, great condition, 3 to first viewer. There was a picture of it, and it looked in perfect condition. Now, the ad had been up for a week, so we thought that maybe it was already gone, and that they just hadn't taken the ad down yet. So, my friend contacted the seller, and nearly instantly got a reply, saying that they still had the sofa, and it was available if we could collect it. I was a bit wary that it was still available. I mean, a free sofa in perfect condition that had been up for a week, and nobody's taken it yet? We thought that maybe there was something wrong with it that could only be noticed when viewing the sofa that was maybe hidden from the pictures. It was a weekend and we had no plans, so we decided that we would go and check out the sofa. My friend contacted the seller back and organised a time and place to meet up. They decided on a local McDonald's car park at 9 p.m, as the seller said he was in work until 8 and would need time to get ready after work. The seller said he would be driving a green Honda Accord with a trailer. So we pulled up to the McDonald's car park at about 8:50 p.m. There were loads of people around, so we had no reason to think that we would be in danger or anything. At about 8:55, my friend got a text saying that the seller was about 15 minutes away, and they asked him to describe what vehicle we were in, so he described the van that we were in to him. About 5 minutes after we texted the seller what vehicle we were in, an overweight man, around 50 years old, with a grey scruffy beard and greasy grey hair, approached the driver's side window of the van, which was my side, as I was driving the van. He was wearing a plain white t-shirt with what looked like food stains all over it, black jeans with holes torn in them, and dried mud stains all over them, along with a pair of black steel toe-cap boots, all covered in dried mud. He knocked on my window, so I rolled it down a bit. "You boys here for the sofa?" he said in a gravelly voice. It sounded like he needed to cough, but couldn't get it out. Yeah, I said to him. "Rob's car's broken down just down the road, and his phone battery's died. I was with him, and I walked up to get you guys. He's with the car waiting for AA, but can you come down and collect the sofa off of him?" Me and my friend looked at each other, unsure of what to think. "Can we get in the van and we'll go back to Rob together?" "How far down the road is he?" I asked, before he replied, "Not too far, but I'll need to show you where to go." At this stage, my friend pretended to get a phone call. "Hello? Yes. Oh, no way, really? We'll be right there," he said, before pretending to hang up his phone. He looked at me and said, "We gotta go. My dad needs us to help him with a flat tire." I nodded, knowing it was a fake call for us to get away from this creepy guy. "We gotta go now, but we'll contact you tomorrow about the sofa." The guy just stared at us as I rolled up my window and started to drive away. My friend and I looked at each other. "That was creepy. I got bad vibes of that guy," my friend said. "Definitely," I replied. We decided to drive around the back of a car park to see if we could find out if this guy was up to something or not. We could see him standing in the same spot where we left him, and he was on his phone. He put his phone down, and about 2 minutes after that, a car pulled up with 3 men in it, and he got in. My friend's phone started ringing, and it was the number of Rob, the guy who was supposedly giving away the sofa. "Hey, can you meet me tomorrow, and I can hold onto the sofa for you until then?" As he was on the phone, I noticed one of the men in the car that had collected the creepy guy was also on the phone. My friend told Rob that he would contact him tomorrow, and that he was busy and couldn't talk right now. At the same time that my friend hung up the phone, the guy who was in the car also finished his phone call. At this point, I explained to my friend that there probably was no car that had broken down, and the creepy guy was trying to lure us somewhere, so as the guys in the car could do God knows what to us. We drove home, and my friend blocked the number of Rob, and we never heard from them again. We reported the ad, and it was removed the next day. Yeah, wow, these guys were up to no good. I mean, I guess the moral of the story is, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. And you really gotta be careful if it involves meeting a stranger at night. Mind you, at night in a parking lot. Like, I'm surprised you and your friend went through that far with it. I would have gotten suspicious a lot earlier, especially considering they offered to bring the sofa to you. Like, I mean, I get it, sometimes people do that with large, bulky items. They're like, if you can get rid of it for me, just take it off our hands, it doesn't matter. But considering they were ready to bring it halfway, that just makes it even more surprising. So I guess, guys, be careful, especially if you're meeting someone you don't know or have never encountered or met before. And guys, I think this post will be the last one for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for Reddit videos every second day. That's right, new videos every single day, with fresh stories, the best I could find, so subscribe for all that good stuff. And guys, with that said, thank you so much for watching. That's it from me, I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.